don't come off as the best guy when I'm messaging all the time. Either you die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain. Outlands and UO Forever it's apples to oranges.
Whoa, hold. Let's backtrack a minute. There are people talking smack about Carl Delinden?
I mean, yeah, it's UO, man. People talk shit about everybody, right?
Well,
UO Forever, when it was first created, was just a pile of shit. It was horrible. And all of a sudden, my cell phone started going ding, 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 ding. At that point, I had to take it way more seriously. That's exactly what Ultima Online Forever is based off of.
Hello, my name is Carl Delinden, the man behind the curtain, the shadowy figure pulling the strings, or maybe not so much of a shadow after all. Sometimes it can be too easy for us to form this enigma, an infamous mystique about people behind the scenes. But what if behind the rumors, behind this mirror of authority on which we project these fears and assumptions, there was a grounded, down to Caesarea adventurer, a young child, misty-eyed as he watched wizard, warrior, and dragon, in figurine form, on his first cousin's basement tabletop dungeon. A role-playing orc, well-versed in the orcish language, seeking thought-compelling adventures beyond the typical hack and slash. The man who built a platform, who is ultimately a veteran player turned world facilitator, nostalgic for our favorite game, Ultima Online.
There's old movies that just has this like crazy following. They weren't big in their time, but then they just had this like very religious, almost cult following.
Welcome. Hey, Shane, how you been? What's going on in the life of Lord Shane?
I'm not a lord. I'm just an average guy. I'm a guy with a daughter, and I have a life, and yeah, I've been busy, man. Busy with UOF. I'm busy with other things. I always have, just like anybody, man. I'm just an average guy. Just got things going on all the time.
So you're not really into like, have you ever been to a Renaissance fair? And
I've never been to a Renaissance fair. I was, my cousin actually, I always loved Dungeons and Dragons. My cousin, like when I was younger, before I even knew like UO, he would invite his friends over and we played D&D. Well, he would play it with his friends and stuff, and I would watch, and I would actually paint the figurines as a kid, you know,
nice.
For him and stuff. So I was always kind of brought up in that kind of thing, like from him. I've never actually played the tabletop game, but I've watched it so much. And like, yeah. And I always want to. And like a lot of my buddies in real life, they're just like, yeah, they're just not into that shit. Right. So, yeah, I've tried to search it out and stuff. And then I seen that you can do it like online and stuff. So I even did that. And then I also watched the Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton has like a kind of a podcast, video cast kind of, and a webisode kind of thing for tabletop D&D, and it's really good. And I watched almost every episode of that.
Yeah, I think people can actually get something out of just watching. You know,
yeah,
you don't
I
have
did
to.
for sure. As a kid, I did, man. Like I loved it and the storylines, and like I didn't know. Yeah, I would sit there for hours and watch them play. Like my cousin and his friends in their basement, just you know. And yeah, and I enjoyed it. It was great. And that same cousin actually introduced me to UO, believe it or not.
Wow. And on Ultima Online, do you ever watch? How often do you spend time watching people playing in your world?
I don't have time to just sit and watch people, I guess. But at the same time, like we have commands in that just watches certain things.
Ah, I see. Have you ever had a time where you were watching and something crazy happened?
All the time, man. Like yeah. Like if you look at our Facebook and you go through all the pictures and stuff, a lot of those they're just random. Like I'll just we have like a command that's like go random person kind of thing, and I just hit it a bunch of times, and then I find just people just doing random funny shit, man, or just random. Like there's people all over, and they're just doing random shit. So then I'll just take a screenshot and upload it onto our Facebook.
And that was what would happen on the Ultima Online cam, the UOF cam, right? The random person command. I remember
that wasn't random people. That was it was based on that was an action cam. So it was based on people getting into action, like getting into combat, and it would go to random people around the world. Yeah. So you remember that, yeah?
Yeah.
And it was that was a good cam. But then I remember that's why. In Twitch, I have Ultima Online Forever 2 as a nickname because the first one, somebody reported it and it got banned because it was botting or whatever. Like, it just, yeah.
You ever see something terrible?
I don't think you... we have... Yeah. Let's just say that with everything, when you have a community like this and you go for so many years and everything, you see the worst of the worst. So like there is really, really bad people out there. There's people that just don't give a fuck. And like there is psychotic people out there. There is, out of anything, like I have a daughter and like, geez, man, I don't want her to use the internet at all because of this game alone. Like it is that crazy, man. There's there's some pretty, we deal with, over the years, I have dealt with some seriously crazy people, man. Like, and honestly, it's not, it's not their fault. They're trying to find some sort of escape or whatever. Or there's people that I don't know, they drink or they're veterans. There's a lot of veterans that do like painkillers and stuff. Then they drink and then they start freaking out. That's a big popular thing. And it's just something I've had to learn. Like I had no idea what I was getting myself into originally, right? Like it was not saying that it didn't fall in my lap at all, but it was just the people situation. Like you're dealing with people from all over the world, all the time, from all different time zones, and there is, I mean, on an average, 1 out of 10 people are probably a little bit off, right? So you take that into context, and you're gonna. There's some. The worst though, I don't even know, man. Like, there's been some bad times. Like I know I've had some guy upload my, post my address in real life saying that he's gonna burn down my house. I got 50 calls on my cell phone in real life. Then he posted my daughter's picture online. Stuff like that. Like there's some pretty bad people out there, and this is all just because maybe I banned them or somebody banned them on my team. I don't know. Like I really don't know who these people are. Like but I put myself out there, right? And that's my own. I take that on my own shoulders.
Wow. I mean, you must be dealing with like criminal activity behind the scenes, right?
Nah, very, very rarely do we do like if it comes down to posting my doing stuff like that, like real life stuff, and it's not just me, right? Of course I'm going to take it seriously, but it's anybody else's. Like we just don't allow that. This is why we always allow only positivity on our platform, like on Discord, because when it gets super negative and you start, if you host and promote a community that just like breeds hate and stuff like that, then you're the person held responsible for that. So that can come down on you pretty harshly. And that's what happens, right? Like if it's not me, it's gonna be somebody else or whatever. Like
heavy hangs the crown. You had some interactions with Richard Garriott. I know you guys did on the anniversary. You had him come on.
Richard Garriott was awesome. He actually loved coming here. We were when we were in our voice. It was me and my team with him. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure you were on, and that was in 2006, 17.
Oh, I was there. I was shouting for
I was
Lord
shouting
British all
for-
night.
2016 or 17. It was 17. 2017. It was, yeah. And it was a Star Long and Richard Garriott. And I remember that Richard Garriott was having, and I didn't know how long Richard was going to be able to stay. Star had to go, like, Star Long is Lord Blackthorn, right?
Hmm.
Like the original. And he had to go quick. And I was just like, okay. And then Richard stayed. And, we basically what happened is we did the in-town invasion, and then we buffed up Richard's Lord British's character, and he was just slaying mobs left, right, and center, and he was having a fucking blast, man. And he was just, oh man, I actually, and this is the truth, I actually had to tell him, like, hey man, I'm like, we've been going online, like my stream was getting so long on Twitch, I actually had to kick him off. Like, he was having so much fun, right? Like, hey, that's actually, like, literally that's how it went. But you have to understand, Richard Garriott has, like, when you first created the game, you probably played a bit, but when you create it or you develop or anything else, you don't play it, right? So he didn't play for that long. Like, all the prime times in OSI and everything, he didn't get to experience that himself. You have to think about that, right? And it's when you actually think about that, you're like, huh, like, he missed out on that. He missed out. He created it, but he also missed out on feeling that too.
He hasn't really even experienced the behind-the-scenes chaos of Ultima Online since maybe... How long ago did he relinquish Ultima Online?
I'm not sure exactly how that went. He kind of told us, and I don't know. All I know is that none of us, me and you would not be talking right now if it wasn't for him. That's all I know.
I know you're not comparing yourself to Richard, but there is a similarity in that, as I said, he hasn't experienced the behind-the-scenes chaos since long ago, but you're experiencing the chaos of his creation.
I haven't, like, I haven't played UF as a character since 2013, right? So players nowadays can almost tell me more. Like, I know about the mechanics and everything, and I go off the devs, and I can see everything and do whatever. But I mean, at the same time, I don't play it. I don't. It's different from developing or leading a game than playing it. Like, players, this is why you got to listen to your players too, right? We're going pretty deep here. Like, I can go pretty far into this, but
well,
I mean,
there has to be a balance between listening to the players and knowing what they want more than they do, in a sense.
Yeah, you gotta. So players put in suggestions and everything, and you gotta fish through that to find. Like, you gotta know based on your own experience to tell which suggestions to pick out that are realistic and which ones are just basically complaining or whatever else.
And to make those decisions, you need to have that feeling of fun to know what's right for a game.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting situation to have that kind of creative energy behind a shard and to be able to dictate what goes on in an MMORPG.
It is almost it's an open world, right? So the fact I've played a lot of servers, like private servers, every single major server. I even played Yo Renaissance. I played the Second Age server when it was big. I actually staffed on the Second Age server.
Oh wow!
I played Hybrid. I did the website for Hybrid. Yeah, Hybrid was huge, and why it was huge because they did Run UO, and the team that put together Run UO, like, it doesn't. You think whatever you want about Hybrid and Run UO and Ryan and Mark and whatever, but like, you always got to have respect that whatever team Ryan put together back then that made Run UO, none of this. We wouldn't be here talking. There'd be no other. There was other emulations like Pole and Sphere. I definitely I went on to a lot of different servers, and when I created UOF, it was right after I actually got banned from UO Renaissance for macroing. And why I was AFK macroing is because it was so fucking hard to get going anywhere. And I used to create like some of my EasyO scripts are still on EasyO.com. And I'm not a developer. I've never called myself a developer, but like the EasyO scripts are easy. UO Forever, when it was first created, was just a pile of shit. It was horrible. We didn't have a donation store for the first, I think, 2 months plus. Running it, like before that, I had a full-time job. And like, so I just did this because I was just fucking, I was sick and tired of just server. I was sick and tired of playing servers over and over again, making characters. It wasn't just me, it was all my fucking, it was all my guild that I played with for like 10 years, right? And they were all good guys. And yeah. And like we did this for server after, like this is just like I'm talking about the major ones, but there's got to be at least 20. I'm not shitting you. So there'll be at least 20 over 10 years. Like, and every time they would just die. These servers would just die and die. Like, and it was just, I had no idea there was any sort of finance or anything. So I did after the UO Renaissance thing, I remember I tried to contact Chris, the owner of UO Ren. And I was like, hey, look, I'm like, yeah, I know you're, and at the time they had like 90 players or something. I'm like, you have good mechanics. It's solid, but you could boost it. We could relaunch it and I can market it for you and everything. And then he's like, yeah, you could do this for me, but you'll never have any power. You won't like basically just do the work and whatever. And I was just like, no, I'm good. And then 6 months later, I launched UO Forever. And if you look at like, if you just Google the UO Forever launch video, and it's right there, people logging in nonstop. And then, yeah. And at that time, like we didn't, again, like you see you see servers launching now and right away they have a donation or they call it donations. Even I don't even like calling it donation because it's a fucking store. It's a store. I pay taxes. Everybody should be paying taxes. Like it's a business. That's what it is. And it was never my choice to do that. It just fucking happened. And basically what happened, we made UO Forever and we had a bunch of players. And then about 2 months into it or more, 2 or 3 months, or I don't remember, but players were constantly harassing me, like, and the staff and nonstop being like, yeah, you guys got to have like, a store, a donation things, like something we could buy. So we made some sort of vendor thing, but I didn't even release it yet. And I remember I was with my daughter at, it was like an indoor playground, like a big apparatus playground thing. I think it was Alan back then was the lead developer and he fucking enabled it. And all of a sudden my cell phone started going ding, 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 like all this money coming in. And that changed everything. Like at that point, I had to take it way more seriously. And you have to understand, like I said, UO Forever was a piece of shit. Like it was so bugged out. It was so bad. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, people are sending me money. So I have to give a service now. And that's what I did. That's how it all started. And I started investing that money instantly back into it. And I also put that out there. There was money to be made.
You were like a trailblazer in setting up a monetized Ultima Online shard?
Well, it wasn't planned, though. You have to understand, right? Like Hybrid is the one that did it originally. Ryan must have made, I thought originally he made maybe 2 million. He made millions. Which, you know what? Honestly, you put time into your server, you do that, and you spend time, yes, you should get paid. You should get something. You shouldn't just take it out of your, like, that was my plan, is just to pay the server fees out of my own pocket. I didn't care. I just wanted a place to have, because I was so sick and tired of being burnt, like servers shutting down over left, right, and center. Me and my guild making characters up on a server over and over. This is over 10 years, man.
It was a way you could sustain the shard.
Oh, sustaining it is like, compared to what, like, this is what woke me up, man. Like it's crazy. Like UO Forever will never, like, it's forever sustained. Like when servers pop up, like private servers, and say they need server fees, It doesn't cost that much, man. I was making good money, man. I fucking worked in an oil company as a lead marketer. This is just a hobby for me, and it changed everything.
So if I could backtrack for a minute, how did you get into doing any kind of computer stuff? I mean, you said you were in marketing. Did you go to school for marketing? Did you go to school for computer stuff at all?
I dropped out actually in like grade 10, 11.
Nice.
Yeah. And actually before that, actually in grade 9 and stuff, I actually had a website that my it was like blog form kind of thing. It was like it was like 5 girls, 5 guys from different high schools, and they would all post on the blog. And it was, yeah, this is before MySpace or anything. And I developed this, and I remember going into my science class and seeing my science teacher on the fucking website. And it,
Wow.
and it was crazy, like, and because I was just super into it, right? Like, just I got into this is when PHP was first created and like being developed and built up, and I was super into it, and yeah, I followed it big time. And I remember one time I actually created a Flash video, and this is when Flash videos were like there was no like super crazy graphics online or anything. This is probably, I don't know what year it would be.
Is this like the Newgrounds era?
Yeah, something around there. Yeah, but yeah, I created a Flash video of like kind of a stickman thing of one of my buddies, kind of thing. Like it would, but it named him, named a teacher, and he hit a teacher over the head with a shovel. I actually, we were in assembly, like the whole school was in assembly, and the fucking police pulled me out of assembly, like in front of everybody, sat me down at a computer. This is right after the Columbine shooting stuff, right?
Oh, damn. Wow.
Yeah. So it was right after that. So they took it super seriously. They thought, like, that teacher thought it was a huge threat. And so they made me like log into the FTP and remove it right away, right at a computer. And I was just like, holy shit, you know? But that also means I was onto something, you know? Like I always see the positive in things, you know?
I see. So that was kind of what turned you on to wanting to do something with an online game?
Well, no, I've always done that. Like before that, while I was doing that, I was teaching, seniors computers at a local school here too. You know, like I've always been, computerized. I grew up super poor, and I never had a computer for a long time, so I used any way I could to get at computers. And there's the long story there. Everybody's got their story, right? So,
What was the first computer you had that you remember?
it was an E-machine, if you remember those.
E-machine. Was that Windows?
It was. I think they were made by Microsoft, but they were like the economical, like not economic. I don't know. They're just a very cheap. It was E-machine. Just Google it. It was an E-machine, and it was just like the cheapest computer you could get. And then I learned that my mother actually borrowed money from my grandma to get it, and I had no idea.
So did you get into gaming right away, or was it?
I was always in the game, like even before that, because you have your console games, and like I told you, my cousin with the tabletop D&D, and he got me into UO. So yeah. I got a computer much later than all the rest of my friends, and because like I said, I didn't have any money growing up. So,
were you a Nintendo kid, a Sega Genesis kid?
I was a Sega, and then I went into PlayStation.
Oh, nice. What do you think about taxes?
Taxes?
Yeah, what's your political leaning?
What's your political leaning? I mean, Jesus, man.
Well,
pretty much anybody you talk to will be like, "Fuck that," you know. Like they're definitely needed, obviously. Like I'm not an idiot. Like they're needed, just like taxes are needed. There's got to be some. I think I can tell you that if my garbage can out back goes missing, I'm gonna fucking speak about it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you pay that much tax, and like
yeah.
where I live here, like our roads need to be redone. Like our side roads, like our down street roads, haven't been touched in like 10 years, man. And it's just like, where's my taxes going? Where's everybody else's? Like, what is going on with this money?
Ruby Red? Well, first off, she asked in general why Ultima Online versus other servers.
Do I even need to say that? Like I said, I've played so many other servers in the past. Outlands and UOFF is it's apples to oranges. It's its own game. So there should be more. Like, and I hope people make more servers. People think that, I care about people making other servers, or I just want people to have fun, man. With if people have fun on Outlands, or I know there's like Yo Demise, which is a hybrid server, and then there's Lost Lands out there, which I think is good. And even honestly, Yo Renaissance is a good server too. I think these servers are good. Whatever fits for you, Get people into the community,
Yeah.
That's what I want. Like, and not only that, with Outlands, to compare to any other server, it's apples to oranges, because they're their own game. So they would have did much better, in my opinion, if they would have just launched it as their own game. I'm shocked they didn't do that. That's just what. But I've talked to Owen and stuff, and they're good guys from what I've taught. Well, they act like good guys to me anyway. But yeah, I wish them well, and like people just need to play, man. Just have fun. Like, what is going on, man? Like what we're doing right now, chatting. That's fun. What you do with your videos and your stream is amazing, man. Like you're doing some quality fucking content, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I agree. People need to just focus on having fun.
And I don't know how some of these guys have time to deal with, like, when you're getting home from work or whatever, and you should want to play a game and just have supper with your family, tuck your kids into bed, and then Ultima Online Forever should be that escape for 2 to 3 hours of your day. That's ultimately what I've always wanted. That's exactly what Ultima Online Forever is based off of. That alone, that's what I want. I want people just to use this as an escape. Like, you don't have to pay anything here. Like, I'll pay for it all. I don't care. I've worked very hard in my life, very hard. And UOF is not the only thing I do. Like, I have other investments. I have other things on the go. And I always have. And people think like UOF just fell in my lap. And no, that's not how it worked. It's not how it goes. I just had somebody earlier actually say, "Oh, hey, man, I heard you crashed your Viper and bought a Lamborghini." I literally had somebody say that earlier tonight. And I was just like, geez, man. I was like the things I have heard about myself, I was just like, wow, man. It really goes to show how often my name goes through people's conversations, right?
Yeah.
And that means that I'm doing something positive or something good that, either they like or they don't like. And I just wish this community and I put my energy into that. So
yeah, I wish people would just have fun. I don't understand. There's so much toxicity and all the stuff we've been discussing.
I completely agree with it, man. And I have, there's been a lot of people that used to be super toxic, like veterans and stuff on UOF, like way back. And they now talk to me, and I talk to them all the time, and they are totally different, and they totally understand. Like, they just put all their toxicity aside, and they just want to help. And like, it's good to see. And I think that's what's needed, especially in a game. Like, it's not just about private service here. Like, it's the life of UO in itself, man. Like, if people wanted to survive, like, they gotta pull together. Like, they gotta put their shit aside. Like this server crap is, and other servers is, I absolutely hate it. I never understood it. I just don't get it. And do your own thing.
Yeah.
Just keep it positive, keep it fun, just have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I play all kinds, when I stream Mortal Kombat, it's not like people are going to kick down my door and say, play UOF. They're different games. It doesn't have to be exclusive to anything, to the type of game or which game or the shard of the game.
It's, yeah. And some people just, they take it out to right, like left field or whatever. But back to the start of our conversation when I said it's got a cult following.
When you what did you start on? OSI on UO?
I was on OSI, yeah. I think OSI, I don't know, I think EA Games owned it at the time, but my major, I played for a long time on UO Renaissance, and when I was first introduced to UO, it was T2A when it first came out. And that was my cousin. Same cousin that did the D&D tabletop. And then years after, like I always remember the game, right? Like it was always a thing. And Adam, a developer, I got him to get it because he had a computer. Your Renaissance was my forte there, and I was actually in a very, very popular. Well, the biggest and strongest. Like I was on Great Lakes, and I was in the Fellowship, FS, and they were the best like PvP guild, like on the for years and years and years. And I was part of them. And this is back in the day when voice over IP was just coming to fruition. You know, like it was Roger Wilco, if you remember that.
Roger Wilco?
Roger Wilco.
Is that like ICQ?
Voice over IP. Yeah, so it was like Ventrilo, but it was Roger Wilco, and it was very it was delayed, right? Everything was delayed. So when the person would call, like this is back when you could do like an explosion fireball e-bolt, and you'd be like a god in PvP, right? And but it was the U Moongate days, like U PvP Moongate days back on Great Lakes. If anybody that's played Great Lakes would know it and know what I'm talking about. And this goes back with they had the Sesame Street gang right outside with the tower, which is Miner, and all those guys. Scooby Doo, which also I heard plays this. Ho Chi Minh plays this server right now. I also had a lot of those FS people. Actually, if you look at our original launch video, like our Sting video that we did I did to promote UOF before it actually launched in 2013, it makes a guild, and the guild name is the Fellowship. And that was kind of an Easter egg to them.
Do you keep up with the FS guys?
They were actually here. I haven't for years. I didn't see them for years. And then I created UF, and then all of a sudden they showed up here.
Oh, I see.
And I was like, wow, I haven't like Iniquitous and Necro and them were here, and they were having fun, but I don't know. They're old, like they're older. They're older than me back then, so they're older now. I don't know. I don't think they play much anymore, but they played here for a bit, and then this is back in 2013-14. They were doing bounty hunting here.
Oh, they must have thought that was so cool that you had gone from a guildmate to a shard operator.
When I first created the server, I was in a guild, like I co-created the guild Umbral with Ziggo and Alex, and that was Tristan and Robin and those guys, and we ended up joining up with Plus Minus, which was Choppa X and Pisces. Pisces didn't play that much, but honestly, we played a lot of other games for years before, but also just dabbled into other servers, like I said, like over the time before UOF. But that was my guild that I played with.
Dropping the names now, nice.
Yeah, man. And we had a huge fallout. It was, it wasn't, like I could honestly fucking write a fucking book on everything that's happened, man. Like, and this is everything I've told you now is just like maybe like one chapter.
Tip of the iceberg.
There's so much stuff, man. People have no idea, absolutely no idea.
Yeah, it's almost like a meta story that has played out through Ultima Online, but in the least expected way possible.
It's my own story and a lot of people are a part of that. But yeah. I mean, I'm grateful just to experience all that shit. Like a lot of heartache, a lot of geez, man. I'm talking like close people, like my guild that like that broke off, and Yeah, it's crazy, man.
What's it going to be like knowing that Ultima Online forever is kind of forever with you? I mean, can you even imagine a day when you're going to close shop? I mean, this is basically permanent, right?
I'm never gonna close shop. Yeah, you'll have to pry this out of my cold, dead fucking hands. People don't have to be that worried at all. Like it's. I got things in the works, and it's gonna take time, but I'll get it done. And whoever's around is around. If I gotta start from fucking 10 players, I'll fucking rebuild it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I will. I absolutely fucking will. And who's ever left and loyal and fucking sticking with us, good. And I remember that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we were talking about how there are older players who fall off, and it's kind of the natural order. You know, I think we all kind of fell off.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that. To be honest, I don't even think it's that. I think it's that. I think Ultima Online Forever created a system in a way that kind of burnt players out.
Right.
But it's also like we made almost an addiction to some of these people, so it burns them out. But I mean, like some of those same people wouldn't play another game that fucking long and that straight for that many years, right? Think of it that way. So, but they did on UOF. So then they're just like, oh, what now? I want more, you know? And it's like, you can't feed that. You can't feed it that quick.
Yeah, like when someone asks me what my favorite game is, no matter what cool sports game I'm into at the time, I can't ignore the fact that I've spent way more time on UO than any other game, for sure. Probably even UOF now at this point. So it's hard to say anything else. You probably...
UO is amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's not... I don't even like using the word UOF because I think it's belittling, like, or devaluing, like, UO in itself. Like, it's UO.
Right.
But we're just doing it differently than what the current UO is. And, but it's UO, you know? And UO, like, you gotta fucking respect it, man. Like, there's a reason why everybody comes back to it, why everybody stayed, like, on this game for so long.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times I've been streaming and I've had people come in and say, wow, this is the first time I've seen this game since 2002. That happens regularly on my stream, and I see it on other UO streams. If I'm streaming Ghouls and Ghosts or you know, Zelda, it doesn't happen. I swear,
man, if I had the rights, like, or if I was, like, part of the, like, Broadsword team or EA team, man, I could do so much for those fucking guys, man. Like, Jesus.
What do you know what's going on with that? I mean, it's still I think they made it free to play.
That much. I don't know. Oh, actually, I do. I did read that they redid the whole treasure map system, which I thought was pretty cool. And they're really trying. They're really trying to get people back into it. And, like, they could get so many people into this game. Like, if a game like RuneScape can have as many fucking people that it has,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, man. Like, there is zero reason why Ultima Online cannot have. I'm not talking about Ultima Online Forever here. I'm talking about Ultima Online. Like, I'm not selfish at all. I don't give a fuck. Like, I do care about Ultima Online Forever, obviously. But, I mean, I'm talking about what's good for Ultima Online is good for Ultima Online Forever, right?
Yeah.
So I want them to do well.
Yeah, it's like in cooking, you have to respect good ingredients, let them speak for themselves. Don't overcook, don't overseason. You know, don't.
Yeah, you can't trade. Well, it's like salt and sea salt. You know, two different things in a way when it comes down to it. Or pepper and cracked pepper.
How do you mean?
Well, pepper is one thing, but you use cracked pepper, it's a totally different texture and everything.
And it has to be subtle. You know, I think a lot of people.
Well, pepper is like it's flaky, you know, pepper.
Right.
But cracked pepper is like grainy, right? Like you bite into cracked pepper. It's
true. Are you into cooking?
Anyway.
What's your cooking skill?
I don't cook that often. I cook here and there. I like cooking.
So you're about like 60, 70?
What?
60, 70 skill points in cooking?
Yeah, maybe about like 50. Just
starter.
No, I can cook. I just don't.
What, do you remember like when you were playing in those old days, maybe the Great Lakes days, if you have a great memory of a grand adventure or some great scheme that you we're part of.
I remember there was this guy called Drown God on there. I remember I went to duel him 1v1, and we all went to Buck's Den, and there was like literally 40 people from the server. Like, people just started showing up, all surrounding us. And this is Buck's Den, so nobody fucking attacked each other. Everybody was civil. Like, back then, like, nobody tried to troll or grief or anything. Like, people just respected what was going on. And I remember I fucking killed him. And, like, yeah, we dueled, and I killed him in front of everybody. And it was like, yeah. And this guy was, like, a high-end dueler. But, like, we're talking... I'm not saying, like, I'm not a good dueler. Like, back in the... I don't know. There's different... We're talking way back. Like, when I said, like, I'm reverting back to what I said with... you'd, like, do, like, an explosion... Fireball.
Yeah.
In a poison, and it basically kills a guy because he can't.
Sounds like a schoolyard fight. All the kids gathered around.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's when PvP, like, dueling was really like on the upcome. Like, it was honestly the birth of 1v1ing. Honestly, it was like that's how it started.
Yeah, because they didn't have any duel pits or anything before hybrid, if I remember right.
No.
Right. Yeah. What kind of character were you rolling back then? I
had a fencer because that's when it was UOR, so like parablows. And then I had a stun mage. I had a stun thief mage actually, and we were in FS. I was a thief faction mage. So believe it or not, yeah, I was a thief back then.
Oh, interesting.
And I used EZO back then to open up bags and like whatever I could and steal. It was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm a thief too. Shout out to all the thieves out there. You know the struggle.
Yeah, I've always I always liked it. It's just I just understand that it was unfinished, and this goes with when Richard Gere was like, "Yeah, I never got like stealing and." The whole thing never got finished. Even Ralph Coster confirmed that. And,
how do you mean? It wasn't finished?
Stealing was never finished. Like there was always meant to be more with it, more to it.
Oh, interesting.
Like to just like randomly steal shit. Like there was like the whole stealing thing was supposed to be more RP based, more. It was supposed to be originally like just more involved into the game instead of just griefing. But you should be able to do way more in-game with stealing with the skill than just stealing from other players, right? Makes sense.
Hello. You've made it past the halfway point of this podcastian interview. I wish to thank thee for listening to Carl Delinden Speaks to Shane. Spread word of this presentation and my questiny by any means possible. Even if you have to leave runes at the bank, or maybe you could write messages in books and leave them scattered around the bank. Before we proceed, I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsor. And he happens to be joining us here now with a special message for all of the ears upon the stone.
Greetings, ears upon the stone. This is the merchant. Just want to let you know that we have sharp scimitars, freshly sharpened. We have Humpty Dumpty, you can come see him. Spiked clubs, mage books, katanas. The shop is filled with stuff that you are gonna love. We have, of course, essential herbs that enhance your life, make you feel better and do better. We have pouches, leather armor. We have all types of items that I know you are just going to love. So come on down to the shop and see me and Humpty Dumpty.
Thank you for that message. I'm sure your shop will see an influx of adventurers soon. And speaking of influx, are you ever annoyed by annoying messages from people like me or the merchant?
Never annoyed. I'm never annoyed, man. I try to answer everybody. I read everything. I try to anyway. But I read the majority of stuff, and if something's super important or anything, then I answer it, right? But if it's something about Ninja Turtles or whatever, obviously, like, yeah. There's other shit too. other people that have other PMs and to, I honestly can tell you that you cannot do what I do without being the bad guy in the end. And it in an awkward way, or in an honestly, truthful way. It reminds me of the Batman movie, in the Dark Knight, where it's like, either you die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain. And this, like, as cheesy as that is, it is so. I had no idea. Like, I thought that was so cheesy, but it is in this situation. It is so fucking true, man. I am the I'm the guy that does all the harsh moves on our staff, and I'm okay with that.
And people always focus more on negativity. Like, you can have 1,000.
People bond over negative shit way more than positive stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and I always call it hive-mindedness. So you'll get a guild with, like, and they'll be doing good, right? Guild on, say, on UOF, right? Say they'll be doing good, and also one guy is just totally upset. And these guys are talking every day over voice over IP, like talking over voice, like we are right now.
Yeah.
And he's just feeding shit, like, into all these guys' ears. And at first they'll be like, yeah, fuck up, like, don't worry about it. Just play. But eventually, if he keeps up with it and the guild leader doesn't handle that and keeps it going on and on, it'll spread. And then it'll be another person that kind of is like, yeah, okay, yeah. I agree with you here. I see one thing wrong now, and the things you're saying, like, then another person. It's called being hive-minded. All these people start feeding off each other's negative energy. They'll be talking about something, just negative stuff, really like low key kind of thing, but then they'll work each other up and get it worse and worse and worse and way worse than the whole original situation even was. Like, it's crazy. I have seen it so many times here. It's insane.
The fun and fundamentals, the fundamental fun, it seems so basic, but people are so emotionally invested.
Feed off the drama and everything, but yeah.
But also,
I understand that.
I feel too that emotional drive of a game like Ultima Online is what makes it so great, because a lot of games don't get me mad at all. I mean,
that's where it comes through a cult following too.
Right. True.
It's emotional. It's an emotional game, but though those emotional players that are emotional about that are actually pushing new players away at the same time. And trust me, because I know this for a fact. Like, we've been on the front page of Reddit, front page of PC Gamer magazines, front page of Twitch. We've had Raph Koster, we've had Richard Garriott twice. We've had. It's just crazy. We've done a ton of shit here. UO in itself, we have done a lot for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, we really have.
And I can only imagine people who might have had like a friendly relationship that you had to be like, look, dude, we got to stop. And people probably think that a shard owner should just say, oh, yeah, whatever, man, we're friends, do whatever you want.
I have never done side deals, back deals. I have never compromised the integrity of the server. I have never. I just think it's a slippery slope, man. I think if you start doing side deals, I've said this to players back in like 2014, and I get asked at least once a week and like all the time, like, oh, can you give me a skill ball, like, or set my taming, or, I'll pay you this, or like whatever. I have been offered so much money to do so much shit, and I'm just like, no.
I feel like there is so much to dig into on the negative stuff, like we could talk about, how people in the past were banned and why, and bad stuff that happened, but
of course, yeah. All you need to know is that if we were just randomly banning people for no fucking reason, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah,
obviously, right? So the people that were banned for a vast good reason, like especially perma-banned. Every single person that's been banned has been unbanned at least once, except for the perma-banned people, and that applies to like maybe 3 or 4 people. I've unbanned people multiple fucking times and let them come back, and they fuck up over and over and over again. And so if I perma-ban somebody and they absolutely cannot come back, you have to think of how much they fucked up. And it's not just me, it's the community too, and my staff, and that everybody sees through it, that having that person or those people back would affect this server negatively, I think about the longevity of the server, right? So
Yeah. Theoretically, what would it take for someone to get permabanned?
you got to do some very, very, very vile shit. And I'm talking vile. I know I'm a reasonable guy that knows what the fuck is going on, but like there's people that are so manipulative and like to like have like this leadership complex and whatever else. And yeah, there's some players out there, man, that are just wow. Like it's crazy. I have met some just wild fucking people. And it's just, yeah, there's some people that just are not allowed back, man, or allowed here at all. One day I hope I can explain it all to people and everything. And one day I hope I can, but I can't do that until it goes away. And honestly, I never want it to go away. So I hope I never have to write that, you know?
Oh, does that mean we're not getting the book?
I hope I never have to. I hope I never have to do that.
Well, ups and downs and everything, I guess.
The only way I do a book or something like that is the story. Like it is a serious story. It's, in my opinion, I think it's interesting. Like if you play MMOs or anything like that, like I think it's really interesting. Like the whole story and everything. And
Yeah. So what do you think of like some of the good players? Like I was saying, Sky Wolfbane and the whole Trinsic Guild. Like they've done a ton of stuff for bolstering the community on UOF, right?
this guy is absolutely fucking amazing. She is someone to look up to. Is the best way to put it. You know, she's a very genuine, good. She's just a good person, and she's a good guild leader. Like if anybody wants to join any guild, Trin is. She like Sky handles her shit, man. She keeps track of everything, and she showed me some of her documents that she keeps documents of everything about older guildmates and everything. Like it's very impressive. She's been here for a long time, like since we started, pretty sure. Intrinsic it's good. I love everything about it. I love the RP aspect. I wish more people were into the RP aspect.
Yeah, and you do definitely do your bit trying to encourage people. Like, I see custom buildings and arenas for people. It's so cool.
I'll help anybody that puts a crew together and starts doing positive stuff for the server. And I forget what it's called, but it's like the Serpent's Hold or Serpent's Pass, I think it's called. It's like the mountains surrounding the little valley kind of thing. In 2013, it was a Viking, and it was the Viking RP kind of thing originally, way back.
Wow.
And then there was Pause way back with but there's been countless RPs and like RP guilds, and I've helped them all out as much as I possibly can. If you show like you could just keep going, and yeah, I have no problem doing that for players, I used to be an RP orc back on Great Lakes, like I told you earlier.
Yeah.
That was the original orcs. That was like you had to learn the language. You have to it was strict.
Right.
It was super strict, and there was no voice over IP.
That's awesome.
And so the orc, I've made 2 different forts. So the current fort that is there, I don't know if it doesn't get used up soon, we'll just remove it, right, and turn it into put a champion spawn or something there,
Cool. One thing that's always been awesome to me about UO Forever is that it does keep it so OG, and like it really gives me that feeling.
The whole thing is to like keep it original, nostalgic, but add little like sprinkles,
right.
Keep people going.
UOF is like, what if UO stayed good and went on? No 3D client and shit like that.
In a different direction, maybe. I don't know.
Right.
And I'm not even saying the direction we're going is the right way. Like so far, it's worked out. But I mean, we got to do way more now. Like we're at a point that we got to do way more now. Like, and even that, like, it is scary, man. Like, because we're talking way more, as in like heavy game mechanic type shit, you know?
Mm.
When you market it and you advertise, you don't want to advertise the new shit you're doing either, right? Because the new shit you're doing, if say we put in new content, that's for the people that already play. But when you market, that's about getting new people that have never played UO or haven't played in a long time. So they want the nostalgia. So you got to have both.
Yeah, something I think a lot of people also underestimate, an MMO especially, has to be so balanced. You know, these fighting games, you know, they spend a lot of time making sure that there's not going to be one single move that can ruin the experience.
Well,
you know?
Kingdoms, 2016. When we didn't release that.
Oh,
Everybody, we actually released a lot of the stuff that was part of it, actually the majority of it. And people will still joke about it like, oh, you never... Yeah, so there's a prime example of marketing versus releasing stuff on the developer end, right? So I hyped the shit and marketed the shit out of Kingdoms. Do you remember
Right.
Kingdoms?
yeah,
Everything?
I made a song for it.
It was supposed to be released and everything. And what Kingdoms was supposed to be was fucking insane, man. And a lot of it was done, was ready, but I can promise you we would not be talking right now if it was released. UF would have died. Like,
Oh, wow.
it changed everything. It added town factions. You were able to like build your own bases, and which is good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, so this sounds all cool, right? But think about the fucking bugs. Like, we're talking like none of this was tested with a lot of players, right? So Adam even made like fucking attack towers. Like, you could like build up towers, and then you had walls in front of your fortress, and then you had attack towers that you'd move forward and attack the fucking walls, and then like it was crazy, man. Like, and that's just the fucking start of it. There was so much shit, man. It changed everything, like everything. And it sounds cool to people that have played UOF and PvP'd for this many years. Yes, that sounds cool. But Jesus, it changed. If we're gonna do that, we might as well do our own fucking game at that point.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's it's crazy. We also have we have it. Like, I could send you to a Faceit right now that makes everything T2A based, like the second age. So insta hit everything. And so we have it. Yeah, we had it. So we were going to have two servers into one. And this is way back. We have it all on here.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so much shit, man. You have no idea. And it's, you go into, basically what we were going to do is you go into a moon gate and you just hit the other Faceit kind of thing. And it puts you into T2A, which is, and I created this whole custom land out. And basically, you go in there, and it's T2A split. So, like, heal through poison, insta-hit, everything. You couldn't place houses on this, but you could. You get a chest, and you bury your treasure, and you get a map. And so we had it all worked out. Like, it's crazy, man.
Wow.
And this is years ago when we figured that out. Like, and we didn't release that either.
Wow.
There's so much shit, man. Like, people, and if we would have released stuff like that, it would have split player base from between that and here or whatever. There's reasons why we do things. And I'm not saying I've made mistakes. I definitely have made a lot of mistakes. Jesus Christ. I'm still learning to this day, you know? Aren't we all? But I mean, like, geez, man, I do the best I can. But there is so much shit. It's crazy, man.
Wow. So what was your did you have like a favorite expansion for UOF?
UOF, I have never had an expansion that went fully to plan. That's why I stopped doing expansions. That's why I stopped hyping expansions.
Interesting.
Remember? Yeah, you did the last theme song for the last expansion, probably.
Hold on. This is Jericho Dominicus, and I am taking over this podcast. You should choke yourself.
Hold on, Gary. We're not going to allow you to promote something like that on this interview. Get him out of here. So the Shard has amassed quite a streaming community. with people like Pop-Tart now able to bring an audience of party members along on their journeys.
It's fucking amazing, man. Colin's, like I said, this goes back to 2013, man. He's the real OG of streaming. Ultima Online, in my opinion. He is the first guy that fucking really put in time, really did, and I worked with him, and honestly, he deserves everything he gets, like positivity-wise. Like the guy puts in time. He's a really good guy, man. He really is. Yeah,
cool guy. And what about Irina, who does the auctions? That's some cool, fun stuff. Are you involved in putting that on?
I originally created the entire idea of it, and Irina did that. And now Faye deals with Irina with everything with that. But Irina's a good person. She does it. She does her thing.
Oh man,
I'm delegating. I'm trying to anyway. Faye is full on admin, and I've been trying for a long time. Faye is absolutely amazing. I'll never disappear from UOF. Like, people respond positively to when I talk in Discord or put on some events here and there. Like, it's just got to happen. So I always have to be around. It's also my baby. It's weird. Like, this goes back to the cult following. I shouldn't need to do that, but apparently I do, because
Thank you, Ears Upon the Stone, for joining me on this auditory adventure, and most of all, thanks to Shane for talking to us about this world of Britannia. Farewell.